What is happening? It is the Nintendo Powercast. It's another mini, and I've got a very special guest, Mr. Rob McCallum. We're going to be talking about the Nintendo Quest. What's up, buddy?
So much is up. It's all about time travel these days. Any discussion about Nintendo, it's hard to avoid nostalgia when talking about the big N, right? I think that's why you pulled me into this, because that's how our journey began.
It is. We go all the way back. What was it? 9 years? Is that right?
Yeah. Well, 9 years since we started filming, and you probably saw our first Kickstarter, and we got on the map on your brain about this thing called the NES Club way back then.
Yes.
Which eventually and more intelligently became Nintendo Quest, which was released in 2015, a documentary in which I dared my best friend Jay Bartlett to fulfill his childhood dream of owning every single original North American retail released NES game, all 678 of them, but to do it in 30 days and to do it without making any online purchases, go face to face the old school way as if you were living in the 80s. And, 30 days is all I could afford to film, and kind of paused my life. And I said, I bet you have a good shot at your dream if you're willing to put everything else aside and truly go for it.
Yes.
If you put your life on hold and all these things that are so important, could you get a dream? What's more important? All these things that are, scratching at you and pecking at you, or that thing that's over your head? Yeah. So I challenged him to do it. Nintendo Quest comes out in 2015. And here we are, 7 years since the release, 9 years since we filmed, and starting to dig through the vault of what that journey was for a bunch of different reasons, really.
Okay. All right. Well, before you've got more than just this in the works. And so I want to make sure that we plug everything appropriately here. So I could see, looks like maybe some action figures behind you. Is that correct? And what does that have to, why action figures?
Well, action figures are, oh man, who doesn't love toys? They're just like video games, part of who you are growing up. And I think probably toys more than video games, you really get to learn who you are. You get to understand storytelling and express your emotions through these plastic avatars. But Action Figure Adventure, my newest series, again, with Jay Bartlett of Nintendo Quest fame, is about to release season 2 at the end of this year. There'll be an upcoming Kickstarter, May 2022, showcasing the new trailer for season 2 of our epic 10-episode journey. So I can't believe there's going to be 20 episodes in total of Action Figure Adventure out soon. This time, Jay goes all the way to Halifax. It's the same premise where he fronts the cash to put together the ultimate action figure auction, and all the proceeds after he gets his money back go to support the Children's Health Foundation for critically and terminally ill children. So good cause, using the love of toys and the knowledge of collecting.
I love it. I love scrolling through and seeing you guys post stuff with Transformers and Ninja Turtles, and like I love it. I love it.
And imagine a Transformer, a Batman, a Ninja Turtle, a He-Man, a Skeletor could actually help kids live longer and have a better life.
Yep.
Because that's what we're doing, and that's what matters.
Yeah. Yeah. Hell yeah, man. That's fantastic. I love it. So, you're digging into the vault. What's going on there? Tell us.
Well, there's this new platform out there, Josh. You may have heard of it. It's called YouTube.
Okay. And it's brand new.
It's this place. I'm not sure if it's going to catch on. Could be a fad, but it's a place.
It's like the internet.
Well, again, the internet. I don't know if it'll stick around or not. But YouTube is this place where you can upload content for people to check out. There's no rules and regulations. There's no commercial breaks needed. There's no runtime. It can be, 10 seconds. It could be 10 hours long. You can put whatever you want up there, and people will watch it if they like it, And so I thought, well, maybe what could I do with this YouTube thing? A lot of people that are on YouTube to create their recurring content, they have that one skill that they can kind of use endlessly in any iteration. So illustrators, they could do a drawing a day and constantly feed the machine a new thing every single day and show the process, talk to the fans and whatnot. But what could I do? I'm a documentary filmmaker. Sometimes it takes 2 to 3 years to make just a single film and get it out there, let alone trying to do that every single day. Well, when you make a documentary film, Josh, especially one when you shoot for like 30 days and you cut it down to 90 minutes, you're left with all this extraneous material that
Yeah.
doesn't make the cut. We're living in a world too where people like to really see as much of the thing that they love as possible. And we're getting a lot of great examples on Netflix, and the Beatles documentary on Disney Plus called Get Back is a great example of fly on the wall filmmaking where you just get to kind of be present around the Beatles, four amazing musicians as they craft one of their most iconic albums, Let It Be. It's not hugely narrative influentially. It's not like, here's what's going on. You just kind of get to be present. And I thought that could be a really cool template for some of the archival material I have with Nintendo Quest. What if you could essentially jump in the van with Jay and I from almost 10 years ago, go to video game stores from 10 years ago, see prices of retro video games 10 years ago, and feel what it's like to be on the hunt with Jay for those 30 days to collect those NES carts over 50 to 100 different chapters that could vary 10 to 20 minutes long, and see what it's like store by store, moment by moment, to really feel the rise and fall of what it was like to go on Nintendo Quest. It's the number one question we still get. What was that like making that movie? And finally, I'm starting to go through the vault and just kind of say, here's the raw footage. Very minimally edited, just in case like something is super boring, like the cameras are running for 2 minutes and like left on a countertop in a store or something. Cut that crap out. Nobody wants that.
Sure.
But here it is, kind of raw. Sometimes it's just one camera. Sometimes it'll be two cameras, both in the frame at the same time. It's just out there for everybody to see. And this is their chance to kind of go on the journey and spend essentially 30 days with us along for the ride to see what that was like, and to see what it was like 10 years earlier than it is now.
I love this. Like, this is so great. I mean, it's almost like we're getting the second quest.
Yeah, it's like 1.5, right? It's the extended expanded edition. And a lot of people are chiming in already. Like we have the first chapter. It's already up on my YouTube channel. Just go to Rob McCallum, writer director. You'll see it up there. You can search the real Nintendo Quest, which is what I'm calling it. Okay. So people can see what the real quest was like, not the 90-minute cut down. Here's your spoon full of sugar. Go search the real Nintendo Quest on YouTube. You'll see chapter 1. That chapter runs almost 40 minutes in itself. Wow. And that's everything that happens in day 1, with Jay just visiting his friends in town to see what those exchanges were like, to hear more about what his friends are thinking, what he's thinking about his quest, to hear him get surprised and to recalculate. I've got the first 4 chapters already done, and we're only into day 3.
Wow.
At this point. So some of them are, 14 minutes, 25 minutes. Like I said, chapter 1's 40 minutes. Some of them are going to probably be like 8 minutes. It's whatever makes the most sense to not get cut off, but not be too long and not to be crazy. Let's just structurally make sure whatever we put out there kind of fits together, and then just join the journey.
I'm so pumped for this. When I saw the tweet, like, I couldn't retweet it hard enough. I was just like, Rob's getting into the Nintendo Quest again. I love it. It's
wild, man, because so many people are still discovering it. A lot of people, for whatever reason, say this is one of my favorite documentaries, which is such a humble thing to hear. And they always say, is there going to be a follow-up? Is there going to be a Super Nintendo Quest? Is there going to be an N64 Quest? Is there going to be a Genesis Quest? And all those obvious questions. And we've said, you never say never. Of course, we've pivoted it somewhat, turned it into a series format for action figure adventure with toys instead of video games. You can plug and play to some extent with other pop culture, universes, comics, trading cards. You could do kind of anything as long as you got the right hook. But a sequel to Nintendo Quest didn't quite make sense, or hasn't made sense yet, but everybody just wants to know what it was like to be in the moment, in the room, in the stores, and see what it's like. So I think it's definitely for people that have discovered Nintendo Quest. And according to my YouTube, if that platform sticks around, those analytics, it's Nintendo Quest is the number one thing people search for that comes up on my stuff. Still, with everything else I've done, it's without contest Nintendo Quest. So feed the zoo, right? You got to feed that zoo. Yes. Get them coming back. So it's definitely for people that know the movie first and foremost. And then it's for anybody that loves, checking out footage from, 10 years ago to see, like, people would be blown away that like Mario 3 was $15 to buy in stores. Yeah. Or like DuckTales 2 is, $50 game. And now it's, like $300 game. Like, what? Yes. It doesn't make sense. And this goes back to the most controversial element of Nintendo Quest, Josh. The element of, guys, Why didn't you discuss prices? How come that's not in Nintendo Quest? Well, when I started going through the footage, we didn't really discuss it then either, to be honest. We just knew that we didn't want it to be about buying and selling and the money. It was more about, can he do it? Will he do it? What choices will he make? Of course, money is a factor and he has a budget, but how far will he go and what will he kind of do to get that dream? But in this, it's like he'll buy like 50 games in a store and the guy will be like, oh, how about $150? He'll say 100. He goes, oh, let's split difference 125. So you'd never know what each individual cart sells for because it's just like en masse. Here's all these cartridges. As the quest narrows down and he's only picking up a cart or two from each store, a little bit different, but it still doesn't play as heavily as people would think. And when they start watching all this footage that I'm hoping to release, you'll see what I mean. So it's fun though. People are like, I've seen the movie 10 times already, and this feels like it's something brand new.
Yes. Gotcha.
My favorite comment, Josh, was like, wow, you're in it so much more this time. I'm like, what do you mean? I'm in it so much more this time. There's so much to break down about that. And I said, well, I'm only really releasing this to further justify my position on the key art, the poster that everybody sees. So that's what this is really about.
I mean, hey, that makes sense. That makes sense. I love
I'm
it.
trying.
As the 10-year anniversary, is this gonna, are we gonna see like the multi-disc set with all this stuff on
Well, that's been asked a few times too. I think on Facebook, like the thread that I posted it, people are like, I'd buy a physical edition of this. And I'm like, you realize that would be like 50 to 100 Blu-rays. And even at the cost to manufacture, let's not even think about the labor to like author the discs and put the chapters on there. Like that would be like a $5,000 set. Now, I wish people were that interested, and then we would have to mark it up, but times 2 to make some money to do it. But it's just not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. So,
yeah. But in the digital age, maybe we can, have everything all in one place. Fingers,
there you go.
It's
all on that YouTube. As long as YouTube doesn't go anywhere, people can watch the real Nintendo Quest week by week. We're releasing episodes at noon on Monday. So as you get through your Monday morning, taking care of the stuff you didn't get to Friday at work, you roll into your lunch hour, noon Eastern Standard Time. You go to Rob McCallum, writer director, YouTube channel. Boom! There's a new chapter of the real Nintendo Quest. As you eat your soup and salad, you fill your tummy, you fill your bucket, you got a smile on your face, some retro video games. You're ready to conquer that afternoon, thinking about what you would have done differently in the moment for the real Nintendo Quest with Jay.
This is so great, so great. So where can people find the original now? Is it streaming anywhere? I know I've picked up a copy on Vudu. I have the Blu-ray. I have the cassette tape of the soundtrack in my closet behind me here. So
I love that you've just thrown it in the closet, and sometimes you occasionally use it to prop the door open.
It's displayed on, like, when I open the door, it's the first thing I see. It's leaned up against Amiibo, so it's right there.
Well, thankfully, Nintendo Quest is pretty prevalent out there. You can probably check it out on Amazon. It's on Tubi as well, I believe. Tubi is a nice free streaming platform with the occasional advertisement that arrives. But Vimeo is another great place to check it out. We don't have many discs available for sale, although there are some that are on eBay that you can check out that we sold as a bundle to a distributor up there. Same gentleman, Jonathan Lung, who he runs VGMaps.com. I don't know if you've ever checked out VG Maps, but it's all about video game maps in the world and kind of as one single graphic. So if you ever, that famous Legend of Zelda map that you can see all of Hyrule, he does that with like every single video game out there and gets submissions and stuff. So he's selling them for, I think, $10 a pop, the original on DVD, which is a great price to secure for yourself. And check that out. Spend 90 minutes of your time and then tune in week by week to see all the stuff that we didn't include and see what it was like kind of behind the scenes.
I'm so glad you're doing this. Where can people find the first season of the action figure stuff?
Action Figure Adventure is available on Amazon Prime, is available on Tubi, is available on Vimeo. It's kind of out there. You search for it, just Google it, Action Figure Adventure Season 1. You will find it. There are links on my site, of course, robmczob.com. It'll point you to everywhere you need to go and kind of find out what you love about pop culture. I've probably done, or I'm starting to develop and starting to do. So you stick here with Papa Macaloo and the beard. We'll take care of your pop culture needs.
Yeah, and I mean, it doesn't just stop with the action figure adventure or Nintendo Quest. There's you got me on IMDb thanks to the box art, the box art stuff. So I was like, hey, look at this. Shout out to Rob. But where like I mean, you've got a number of documentaries, right? So is
I've
there
done a few.
is yeah, just shout them all out. Like let's hear it.
All right, let's see if I can go in order. This is where I always get confused,
Oh
especially
yeah.
when people ask for like my credentials. Like, what have you done? It's like, I don't even remember what I had for breakfast. Let's see what kind of films I made. So, Nintendo Quest, of course,
Yes.
Nintendo Quest Power Tour, which is a 10 episodes follow up as Jay and I tour the film across North America and compete to complete a list of 10 games we've always wanted across all eras.
Let's stop right there and talk about how I looked like a deer in the headlights trying to record. Like I got so nervous right as you started filming me in Portland. So we can.
You look great. You look great. You look so good.
Yeah, I look great because of the way you cut it. But I remember like, why am I nervous? I'm never nervous in front of anything, and all of a sudden I'm nervous. So
You're like, because
you know,
this is part of Nintendo Quest, and
this is
in 9 years when they release the vault footage, this is gonna count. That's what you were thinking.
probably
You had the
yeah.
foresight.
Yeah.
So Nintendo Quest Power Tour, missing mom, about two brothers who hit the road to try to find their mom who's been missing for almost 25 years. Spoiler alert, I'm one of the brothers. All that stuff is available everywhere. Tubi, Amazon, check it out. Power of Grayskull, which is the definitive history of He-Man in the Masters Universe. We sold that to Netflix. We are in the process of putting that in other places as well right now. So it's going to get its second window opportunity, we call it. So Netflix took it first, and then it's going to go elsewhere soon. What else have I done? Video Game Box Art, the story behind the cover, is an 8-episode series that looks at those individuals that nobody knows that created the iconic cover art for video games. Who created those images that are burned into our head when we think of Mario 3? Who did the Mario and the Raccoon on the yellow backdrop? When we think of Mega Man 2, who did that art? That's what this series is about. Done a pair of documentaries on Kitty, the heavy metal band from my hometown of London, Ontario. Their biopic, which talks about their 20-year history, and of course their reunion concert, Kitty Live at the London Music Hall, which is just a phenomenal concert experience. So if you want to have your face melted off and see what it's like to really die and go for your dreams and have to sacrifice everything for it along the way, those are films for you too. So, and I'm working on a few other ones right now too. Faking Filmation. We raised over 100K US and Kickstarter last year. Pandemic has slowed production a little bit, but we're starting to gear up again, thankfully, on that. And I have a documentary on Mr. Dress Up, which is like Canada's version of Mr. Rogers, more or less. He was actually Mr. Rogers' like apprentice for a while. So when Mr. Rogers went to Canada to develop what became Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, he eventually went back to Pittsburgh, and Mr. Dress Up stayed behind doing his own kind of show. But you can see the link between the two.
I love it. You've got so much history that you document, and it's fantastic. And you do a great job. It's got to
be fun history, though, man. That's the thing. I don't want to make documentaries where it feels like a book.
Right.
There's nothing worse than just basically watching people talk when you could have had that experience reading it. I want to present fun adventures in a way where truth and reality are stranger than the fiction, but also tie into the things that matter. I may hook you with the nostalgia with something like Nintendo Quest on the surface, but I'm going to pull at your heartstrings because it's going to be about the personal journey underneath. And that's why it still matters today. And that's why it still matters to you watching.
Love it. I love it. Rob, tell everybody all the places they can connect with you.
Hit me up on Twitter. That's my number one spot that I like to talk to people, at Rob McZob on Twitter. Of course, I'm on Instagram as well at Rob McCallum Films. And we have, channels for all the different projects we do, Action Figure Adventure, the Jay and Rob Toy Show as well. Facebook, go ahead, find me out there, Rob McCallum, writer, director. But Twitter, at Rob McZob is really where you want to get me. And if that YouTube thing sticks around, Rob McCallum, writer, director on YouTube. That's the channel. That's where you can see all this iconic vault legacy content.
Yes.
To make you feel like you're part of the process.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Hey, everybody, thank you so much for listening. There will be a link in the description right to these YouTube videos, so you guys can go check them out. Make sure you subscribe and all that fun stuff, and we will see you guys in the next one. Bye now.